Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
I put a spell on you because you're mine.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics. I think I do some other things. I'm not quite sure. I have to check my next paycheck whenever I get one to see what it is I'm getting paid for. We are going to have some fun tonight. I have made the mistake of billing our guest too often and too frequently as professional cosplayer Cara Nicole. But obviously, I should extend those titles to at least include singer and songwriter, as well as raconteur for all the businesses she's doing. You know what? I think we'll just let her tell everybody about it. Here she is. Cara, how are you tonight?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great right now. In an hour or less, my arm will be spaghetti because I had one of these armature things for my mic. You know, you pull it down. It's like a big old radio. Well, the grip decided to let go. So now I'm, action reporter, man on the street kind of thing until I get, my new one arrives to set it in and get my arm freed up here. You are so busy. I did not realize how many things you're still fulfilling online.
Well, we have everything fulfilled. So
yeah,
last two campaigns,
it's all in demand.
But yes, it's in demand, and we do have everything in our possession so that we can ship.
Well, that's the key, because if you've been following the trends on Twitter about crowdfunding, the fashionable thing to talk about is people being late with their projects and not fulfilling. And
it's so interesting, and it's interesting when I see someone and they'll comment, if you can't get everything fulfilled on time and and have the right distributors and have this, well, then you shouldn't be in this business. And it's like, even the grocery store runs out of stuff every once in a while, honey.
Yeah. Did you try to get toilet paper last year?
Right. Costco should just go out of business when they run out of toilet paper. And,
exactly.
Sometimes you just can't help it. It's not on us. Like, we're not over here handicrafting everything ourselves. Let me crochet this comic book for you, No. And you've got printers and you've got boxes. There was a box shortage. So I even had to put out, like, in my update, I'm like, hey, some of you guys got some janky boxes. Like, I did what I could because I couldn't get, like, my Geminis were late and like cardboard had gone up. And so it's like, oh, you're getting a pizza box and you're getting this old Amazon box and you're getting, this box that I cut in half to make two boxes.
Yep. Some people get a Gemini from me that came to me with somebody else's stuff in it originally.
Hey, reuse, reduce, repurpose.
That's exactly right. And I don't think anybody cares about the Gemini mailer. There, as long as the stuff inside came okay, everybody's happy. So you recently fulfilled on the topic of the comic books. You had Fire Bitch #2 came out and fulfilled. Mm-hmm. How did that one end up? I did not pull that one up to look at it.
I don't know. It was pretty good. Let me see.
It's good enough to continue on to 3, right?
Fire Bitch 2 is still in demand on Indiegogo. So that one's still in demand. I actually ended up selling one today.
Excellent. We have Heroinberg in the chat. He is our wrench. And I'm going to rely on him to grab all those links that I didn't get. Look at this. He's already on top of it. He's got the 52 card pinup link going. Heroinberg, if you can find that Fire Bitch link, that would be great because I didn't get that one in the description.
It's 62597. So the way that I do it, the way that we do it here is we put it through Kickstarter first. And then that way, all the stretch goals and everything, we have an idea of where that's going to be. And then we go over to Indiegogo. So it's like, oh man, I missed it. Can I still get it? Absolutely. You sure can.
Yeah.
So then you can go get it in demand over there. And I put what I call a goodie pack. And your goodie pack is your stretch goal pack. So it's everything from the Kickstarter campaign that we met for stretch goals. Now, sometimes on higher dollar items, and I haven't had this problem yet, but sometimes on the higher dollar items, like I did the bags, the CDs, that sort of thing, if we run out, you're still going to get a bunch of shit, but you're not necessarily going to get that one thing. But and I haven't had that problem yet. I've always had more than enough stretch goal packs to continue on and go around.
Yeah. And I bring you up all the time to people who are doing crowdfunding because they're like, they can't make up their mind with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I'm like, well, Cara Nicole does this, because you told me that you could actually roll over the money from Kickstarter to Indiegogo, which was a game changer for me because a lot of people, they do their Kickstarter and then they start at ground zero with Indiegogo and they say, well, I made $300 and, nobody wanted it. But, you make 30,000 on Kickstarter and then Indiegogo has you on front page because you funded in seconds.
Yeah. Well, and it's two different platforms. Everyone has their preference. Some people like Kickstarter because of the buildup and it's coming out on this day. And then some people like Indiegogo because with Kickstarter, you have to wait till your survey comes out to fill in your address. And then a lot of people forget, or they are like, why are you messaging me? It's like, so that I can send you your stuff, honey. But with Indiegogo, you do put your address in right away. You put your payment in right away. But even though it's in demand, you still have to wait 10 days because you have 10 days to get a refund and decide, I don't want to back that anymore. I want my money back. So I cannot ship to you the day that you order from Indiegogo because you can turn around, go in, get a refund, and I'm out. So
I have to adjust my calendar now that you've told me this, so I know when to expect. Thanks. Because I just backed something yesterday. I told you that. It's I forgot where I was going to go because I really was paying attention to the calendar and saying, oh, I got to wait 10 days. Do you don't really care about what platform you use though, right? I mean, there's so many people like, no, it's got to be Kickstarter. If you go to Indiegogo, you're among the evil people. Or no, if you use Kickstarter, then you've joined the Kool-Aid drinkers.
So let me tell you, like personally, from my years of experience with both of these platforms, I can tell you right now, neither of them give a shit about you. And neither of them give a shit about anything other than making their money. And it's interesting. So I actually got hit up by Kickstarter and they said, we would like to interview you so that we can learn more about what works for our platform. And they said, how often do you go back to your campaign or a campaign that you backed? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I backed a project 3 months ago. How often do I just open up Kickstarter and go back and look at that? Like never, unless there's some sort of drama online. I'm like, wait, let's go look at the campaign and see what it looks like. Or, I got a message. So barring a message or an email or anything going on, how often do you go back to someone's campaign? You really don't, right?
Yeah. Not unless you're me doing a show about old campaigns.
Right. But an average backer is not just going to go and just look at it, And so I was very confused. I was like, really? And they say, well, yeah, because what we're thinking is a place where you can just put in, oh, fulfillment is done, and it'll just show up on the top of your campaign. And it's like, well, so now you're relying on people to voluntarily go back to your campaign, which they probably forgot they even backed. And anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of the public opinion. So if you say, my campaign has been fulfilled, someone's going to say, I didn't get my stuff. And you're going to say, because I sent you a survey. I sent you a reminder of your survey. I messaged you on Facebook. I emailed you. I called your mom's house. I knocked on your door and you wouldn't give me your address.
Yes. And you know what? That's not just Kickstarter. Apparently, because I just went through this. Apparently, Indiegogo will allow you to back something and not put in a shipping address.
Oh.
And I'm sitting here trying to fulfill people. These were big boxes. I'm like,
yeah,
where to? And it was like a week before I got emails
today. And then it comes back, and you're like, what do I do? I'm trying to get you your stuff, man. I really am. But the idea. So I'm like, I told them, I said, why don't you give us as creators the customer service that you would like us to give to our people?
Yes.
You cannot get a hold of someone. I had a campaign during one of my campaigns. There were a lot of flubs with Kickstarter, and people couldn't get in, and they couldn't change their order, and they couldn't do these things. And so what are you supposed to do? You're losing backers because people cannot back you because they can't get in the system. There was nobody to contact. So a friend of mine with her campaign, she contacted them, and you know what they said? Well, why don't you have your backer contact us? So let's see. If I want to back someone's campaign, I have to try to back it. Doesn't work. Change my browser. That doesn't work. Try it on my phone. That doesn't work either. Contact the person who's running the campaign. Then I got to go to contact Kickstarter, and then they're going to tell me what. I'm not going to go to this much trouble. The average consumer is not going to go to that much trouble. So,
well, they're not going to help the backers either, Cara. I mean, you're right. They're there to take your money. Mm-hmm. I went 6 to 7 months unable to back anything on Indiegogo at all, because every time I used my PayPal card, it would hit, it would come out of PayPal, it would reject. I'd have to wait 4 hours and go back to PayPal, and no one could tell me why. PayPal said everything's fine. The address I had in Indiegogo matched what was on my PayPal card, and Indiegogo just kept saying, Stripe is rejecting it. Stripe says no. I went to Stripe. Stripe said, we don't see an issue with this card. There's no reason why we're rejecting it. I finally had to figure it out on my own, and what I had to do is I had to delete the card from Indiegogo and put it back in, because apparently was still using the old date. It never said this card has expired. They gave no customer feedback at all. If you go to Amazon, you got your list of cards that says, oh, by the way, this one expired, that one expired. What do you want to do with these? Not Indiegogo. They don't tell you anything.
So I don't want anyone to think that I'm like this crabby Nelly over here complaining about everything. I just want people to really understand what actually is going on. A lot of times new creators don't know that Kickstarter takes a portion of your shipping.
Yeah.
And they include it in your final tally. So when you're hitting that, want to surmount all this campaign drama, yes, go straight to the website. But yeah, what was I saying?
Shipping. They take the shipping.
Yeah, they take a cut of your shipping. If you say, okay, I need $1,000 to be able to fulfill this campaign or to make this product, all your shipping costs, they're all taking a portion of it. So you got to say, okay, I need to make enough money to prepare the project and to ship everyone their stuff, with a percentage being taken out.
Yes.
By Kickstarter. And yeah, a lot of times, Herrenberg, you brought up, go to the website. That's great. And people are like, well, why don't you just put it on your website? Because your website is not as publicly accessible. People like going to places they know. There's a little bit of safety in going to a third party. A lot of times people don't feel confident, like, oh, I don't know you. I'm not going to give you money for a project you're going to put together in 6 months. So they like to have that security. And I understand that. But don't
like,
buy that there's any sort of political agenda between Kickstarter and Indiegogo, because I don't think either one of them actually care.
yeah, it's like, I'll see links for, my kid will send me a link, says, give me this Chinese toy I saw on Facebook. It's definitely a link to, a Chinese. I'm like, I'm not going to go to China for that. Let's look on Amazon and find it. Oh, look, there's the exact same toy. I'll buy it from Amazon. It's shipping from the same place. But it still came from China. It still was an overseas shipment. But I went to Amazon because I trusted Amazon more than I trusted,
You trusted Amazon, and you can get, you can get that refund.
Yes.
And you do have some sort of, place to go. Although I did not know that with Kickstarter, if you get a refund, Kickstarter cannot refund you. You have to get a refund from your, from the creator.
Oh boy.
So
this is really going to get complicated when somebody in government figures out, sales taxes should be added onto these things.
And that's a really interesting point. And I believe in some places they are starting to require sales tax in some of these things, especially even with digital products. They're now requiring sales tax. It's a big, huge thing. Robert, you bring up eBay. Someone was talking about on one of the collectors forums recently about how they are starting to 1099 you for any, for $600 or more. It used to be $600 in one, like if one person gave you $600 or more for a product, that would have to be reported to the IRS by the person who received the money, or 1099 if it was a work situation or whatever. But now they're just going to start like, I see someone cash apped you $600. And I think a lot of it is they're trying to go after the sex workers.
Well, nothing, pay taxes, make it legal, and everything's fine. But
right. Well, and the thing is what they're not realizing is, okay, so you sell a few things on eBay, you make over $600. Now it's a business, and depending on the state you're in, it can take 10 years. You can take a loss for 10 years. Itemization, baby. Schedule C.
Yes. Get an accountant. I've had one for 20 years, and I still don't know how he gets me money back every year, but by God, he does, and I love him for it. Miss Rita's in the chat. Welcome, Miss Rita. She is going to be on the show tomorrow with her project, and I can't wait to have her on here. First time interviewee. We've been talking about the things that you have on crowdfunding, and I'm not showing any of them. You have two of them that are in demand for a while here. And the question I have on this one is, this one's not due to fulfill till January 2022, but has it already been in fulfillment?
Oh, it's been fulfilled. Everything on there, unless you've ordered within the past 8 days, has been fulfilled. Or if you didn't give me your address, or if it got returned.
Yep.
So yes, it has been fulfilled. I put January in there just because I'm trying to give myself a little more time in case people are like, whatever, or because of the mail. Or at one point, I actually started taking mail directly to the main branch post office because it was taking 5 days to get like across town. So we're like, nope, we're just going to go and drop these right off at a main hub.
I lived in North Carolina a long time ago, and I took my bills to the post office because I figured, hey, why put it in the mailbox at my house? Because I'm living in, BFE.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, took it to the post office, and I started getting late notices. Like, I mailed it, plenty of time. Went to the post office, and
there's a paper shortage. There's the cardboard shortage, the paper shortage, a toner shortage.
Yeah, but this was like 20 years ago, and they said, we don't send anything to the next office hop until we have over 100 pounds, because it wasn't cost efficient to send the mail. You got 5 pounds of mail. We're not going to drive 30 miles to the next place. Wait till it gets 100 pounds, then it's worth our trip. So I quit using that post office, and I started driving into
dropping rocks into their bins.
Yeah, that's what we should do. But the reason I asked about them on the calendar is, I've seen a lot of discussion about other cosplayers doing cosplay calendars with delivery dates of January 2022, and they're not even in demand yet. They're still like funding. So people are like,
Okay, so
how are you going to do
here's
that?
another thing with my calendars. My calendars are always 13 months because I always don't like that when I'm in December and I'm like, I need the January, but it hasn't come out yet. Or you're in November and you're like looking at the calendar. Where's that January calendar? It hasn't come out yet. So I give you that January so that you have a month in case there's a delay with the last calendar. So you always have January. And if you just need to see what's up for, it's my own little.
I reuse calendars like this. I've got right here, I've got an Antonio Varga calendar. I was like, it's 1984, but you know what? I still flip the pages. I just realized that it's the 28th, but not Wednesday the 28th. It's
You're on to something. You're giving me ideas, and I appreciate that. Maybe I won't put out a 2023 calendar. Maybe I'll put out a 1985 calendar.
And then you could do and you could retro the cosplay to be like 80s versions of characters. How would you have cosplayed it in 1980 with what was available?
Well, a lot of characters actually looked like that back then anyway.
They did. Rogue looked like Rogue. Right.
But that would be kind of cool.
So you've got it. We're saying this is a calendar project, but it's more than that, isn't it?
So this is what I did because, well, you already have your 1984 calendar. You don't need a 2022. So you can get, if you still want to support the project and, get all the stuff, we took all of the calendar images. There's 2 images on each calendar. If you scroll, you'll start seeing the months. And there's 2 images for every month. And I took those 2 images and I turned them into pages of a photo book. And then I took quotes from either the character or the character's era or something about the character. And there's a quote in the book. So that's just a mock-up. And I should have actually brought a book in here to show you. But and then the covers are different. So it's got like the Power Girl Bondage cover for the calendar, and then I've got a different bondage Power Girl image for the book, because one's going to be landscape, one's going to be portrait, and and then I also have double-sided prints, so you can get a print that has Lady Dimitrescu on the front, and then the other image on the back from the calendar images. So there's a lot of fun little things like that as well.
Yeah, and this is so this is a calendar, and then there's a photo book. And then there's another calendar and another photo.
So you've got your calendar cover on the top there, and then underneath it, the Made in America is the photo book cover. They're both the same image, like the same cosplay, but you get a different image. So that way, if you're not a calendar person, you can get the book instead.
Okay, so there is. Let me make sure I got this all right here. You have the calendar, the photo book, the cosplay bound calendar. And that photo book, the made to cosplay.
Now those are just cover variants. The inside's all the same, but the variant, and then I've got the made, the Fire Bitch, the Bondage Power Girl, which was really cool. It was done by an amazing Shibari guy, Eric Fialos, who is Bald Pirate Photography. And then I also have some really cool add-ons. Like I did a puzzle.
I saw the puzzle. That's you and Michael Bancroft out of Australia, the only 2 people I've known to do puzzles for their projects. So
I didn't know he did that. So you can see the double-sided print. You got side A and side B of the of all of them.
And would I be making an incorrect assumption if I were to say that you have the side A and then the side sexy?
No. It's the other way. The side A is the sexy and the side B, it doesn't matter. I actually thought, I wonder if anyone's going to come back and say something. Oh, my side A is.
Yes. Okay. Because they're not labeled A and B, right? It's not like it's a 45 record. You're too young to know what that is. I told you were too young to know what a 45 RPM record was.
So I usually don't show all the months, but every month was available as a print. So I had to show you guys all the months. And
you can get them all as prints. That's great. Plus, they can see they're postage stamp size. Nobody wants to right click that and blow it up and get it all pixelated and say, oh, I've got this.
But they're 11 by
sort of.
17s.
That's a good size because that's easy frame. You can get an 11 by 17 frame.
Obviously the calendar's not on there. Oh, and that's a towel. I do have a couple of those towels left too.
Oh, this is
It's a towel. It's a 20. No, I'm sorry. It's a 40 by 60. So it's a big towel.
Yes. So if you are all wet and you need to wrap yourself in something, there you go.
Yes.
And all of these are still available. It's all still in demand. And the link has been put out there already. So definitely hit that up. If you are looking for your calendar, guys, you got a week left, and you won't miss those first few days of January. We did have a relevant question, we say, from Heroinberg. He says, what exactly does one tie Power Girl up with from which she can't break free? Is it kryptonite chains? Maybe you just hypnotize her into thinking she can't do it. Yeah. I say that because I subscribed to your channel today, which there's the link. Go out and subscribe to Cara's YouTube channel. And I saw you get hypnotized while you were at a convention, one of the older videos when I was looking for something to steal. So fun stuff out there. It's not all just cosplay, a lot of singing. Want to touch on that a little bit, but I want to backtrack up a little bit where you were talking about the Power Girl bondage picture you did, specifically because of the photographer who was involved with there, because getting a good photographer is extremely important if you want to make cosplay a business more than just a hobby, a convention going thing. And how do you pick? How do you get a photographer that you can work with?
So there's a lot of legalities with it. So you can have a good photographer, but if you don't own anything, then you really have nothing to work with. Especially if you start getting into comic book covers, like we specialize a lot in cosplay comic book covers. So I have tons of covers out there with other creators for indie projects. So if you're interested in that ever, anyone, hit me up, take a look at my work. I've got a huge portfolio of covers I've done for other creators. And the thing is if you just get your friend with a camera or a photographer that's just trying to get noticed or whatever, they technically own the photos. So we do pretty much everything in-house. I work with Alfred Trujillo because we own, everything together. So we keep it all in-house. With the bondage, I've been working with Bald Pirate for many, many years. He was actually the first photographer I worked with as a cosplayer. So because he's a photographer and bondage, we work out our own stuff. But yeah, it's very important. Be very, very careful. I know one cosplayer who her photographer, I think, was at her boyfriend at one time, and they split up, and he said, don't buy her prints, just download them all for free from me and put everything high resolution out there. It turned into a big mess. So yeah, having appropriate photography, contracts, rules, that sort of thing is very, very important. I know a lot of cosplayers actually just started shooting their own stuff. So
yeah, I mean, and if you're capable of doing that and you have the good equipment, I know a lot of cosplayers. Your cosplay does not seem to be Photoshop enhanced in post production. At least most of the stuff that I've seen.
Everything is always Photoshop enhanced. Like if you scroll down and look at that Loki, that Sylvie from Loki,
right?
The background on the because it's a vertical image, and I needed a different size image for something, and I actually had to take a background from another image to like even out the mountains, and I had to do a lot of work with that sort of thing, moving bushes, weird little things like that. I mean, obviously we've got the cutouts. Everything is always enhanced because sometimes you take a picture and it might look a little dull. So you want to pop those colors. So you always want to Photoshop enhance. And when I see people and they just like, look, here's 375 pictures of me, click, 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 and it's all blurry. Weed out the trash. Make sure that it's clear in the right places. Sometimes I've had images where it's like, man, this is a really great picture, but the eyes are blurry. These eyes over here are great, but something's wrong with it. Like So like literally cut out my eyeballs and put them right over there. So there's always little things done like that to give you guys like the best possible product that we can.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's enhancement and photo enhancement. I get that. I think I was referring more to things like, somebody does hey, I'm Captain Marvel, and I'm on a green screen, and there's a jet flying behind them in the background now when they release their cosplay
We've
photos.
done a little bit of that. It depends on what it is. Sometimes you want that. It really just depends on what it is. But we don't do a ton of that.
All I know about cosplay is what I see at conventions. I did one cosplay in my life. I went to the 1989 Comic-Con, and I was the Joker. And let me tell you something, folks. In 1989, there was no such word as cosplay, and nobody did it except me. Very lonely. Anyway, I'm going to leave this here now, and we're going to move over quickly to the 52 card pinup. This was a pinup book and a deck of playing cards. Also in demand right now. I started fulfilling in July 9th. So the fact that it's in demand tells me, because of Indiegogo's rules, you're selling this stuff every month.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, it's not a ton. We're a lot of times people just hadn't had a chance yet, or they'll do a private sale or whatever. But it is still there for anyone that hopefully comes across it. That is another thing that I'm really not too much of a fan of with both platforms. With the comics, Kickstarter will share my stuff. They'll push it out. They'll tell people this is a project in your neighborhood, or this is a project in your area, or this is a project you should, we love. Cosplay, they don't seem to want to touch it in any way. And George, I have not considered doing a photo comic book because it typically looks terrible. We do have some ideas we're playing with, but I have seen photo comic books and the word balloons just make them weird. Like it just doesn't look right.
I've seen they call them committee books.
Yeah. Well, and they look weird. And so there is a book that I do have. It's called Confessions of a Cosplay Diva that I put out. And it is a pinup confessional. So there's like a pinup and then like articles and stories and telling you all about, what it's like, the reality of what it's like being a full-time professional cosplayer. So that one I believe is still up on Indiegogo as well. But 52 card pinup, yes, it is. Actually, it's not even 52 cards. It's actually more than that. It's like 56 cards because you have your main deck, which are all different cosplays except my kings. My kings are all me, like in some sort of like fancy dress with a crown. Everything else is all cosplay. And there were questions like, are you going to have enough cosplays to do this? Well, I guess if you have like the boudoir and the regular one, no. I did not duplicate a cosplay in this deck. I did not use a Catwoman full costume and a Catwoman lingerie. No, it is every single card is different. Plus, I've got an old maid, which is Yvette from Clue. You know the maid. Yes. I have a wild card that's a Waldo Where's Waldo wild card because I'm Waldo. And then I have the Joker and the Harley, which are Joker and Harley. And then you can also purchase additional cards. So I have 4 additional cards that you can put as an add-on as well. So, and I have multiple covers. Some in holofoil, some in regular. I definitely recommend the black or the Catwoman cover is a really great one that I always encourage everyone to get. It's a beautiful one. Implied Odds is when I was in Facebook jail because I practically live in Facebook jail. And you can buy those patches too. If anyone's interested in the patch that says Facebook incarcerated, it's got the little handcuffs on them. Hit me up.
I missed that on there because I need one.
But the 2 pair is my favorite.
I'm going to the patch store. I live in motorcycle tourism country here in northern Arkansas. So there's like, biker bars and everything. There's a store that does nothing but sews on patches and sells patches. So I take my jacket in every time I get a new patch for another project. I got this one in and it's going to go on the jacket somewhere next time I go. But I'd love to go in with more than one patch. So I'll hit you up for one of them Facebook jail patches. Never been in
And if you
Facebook
have
jail.
any
Been in
cash
Twitter jail plenty of
custom made,
times.
I've got someone for that.
Cool. It's hard for me to say that this is my favorite shot of your cosplay or anything like that, but I really do like that Chitara because I never see anybody do it. You know, you can't throw a brick at a convention without hitting 3 Harley Quinns on the ricochet. But you know, nobody's doing Thundercats. Very few people
Our
do
house
Scooby
key
Doo.
is actually the Sword of Omens.
Oh my god. Okay, that's very cool.
I found it at a con, yeah.
Now
Aces Up is
this
a
is the
jeweled
Facebook jail.
edition. Yeah, but the Aces Up, that's a jeweled edition. So we had that those jeweled. The Card Shark did really, really well. That was a really fun one.
And you had an interesting way of doing this one too, because you had it was very early with Kickstarter doing the add-on capabilities. So you had that, you know, dealer's choice at the beginning where it's like, just here's the deck of cards. Now go in and just add on what you want and put it, you know, fill your plate with what you want to do, which is what I did. And I could have used a bigger plate, but it wasn't an all-you-could-eat bar, and my credit card keep getting charged. So, I had to
extra prints, holofoil prints. Oh yeah, the bottle opener. So the bottle opener is double-sided, and I didn't know what I was going to put on the back. I thought I was going to do the logo on the back. I was like, you know what? So it's actually Power Girl on the back. It's the same pink background, but it is Power Girl on the back.
I was going to say it could be like the same one, but like the same pose, but the boudoir kind of pose. But I think my mind was thinking back to the 70s when, you know, my friends would have these dirty ink pens where, you know, you held the ink pen and here's the lady in the dress, and then you turned it over and the dress was ink and it just kind of flowed away.
I'm looking into that.
Bring it back.
But yeah, the bottle openers, it's good bottle opener. Like, it's metal. And yeah, like the other side is still pink and it's in the same gradient, but it's got Power Girl on the other side.
I think the one I bought, I was looking for a print, and got something on my mouth there, and I couldn't. It wasn't available as a print, so I'm like, well, screw it. I'll just buy the book cover and I'll frame the book because I'm going to see all the pictures on the cards anyway. So,
well, thank you.
It's what I do. I come up with solutions to problems. And there's just so many
poster, that's a 24 by 32. That's a big, like, movie theater sized poster.
This one here, the black cat.
The one below it.
Okay, the fire bitch one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know whether the description's above or below.
Yeah, that one's got to go in a tube. That one has to. It's like, doesn't matter. That one's shipped always separately. I don't roll my prints except for that, because it's huge.
Yeah. Now, I was just saying that you don't seem to Photoshop a whole lot. I'm sure this was Photoshopped. I was going to ask about the arm tattoo. Was that a temporary tattoo, or did you Photoshop that on?
I think that one's Photoshop.
Okay. Because I
did shoot that in Hawaii.
You know, I could look at cosplay photos all day. Folks, get the cards. Invite your friends over. Play poker. And everyone have a good time.
That one was actually a black and white image that I did a paint over on because it was weird. I couldn't find the colored file. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I do this? And I started playing with the colors on the black and white. So that's actually a black and white print that has been like digitally modified to add colors. That's why it's called Technicolor, because it's colored differently. It's not the natural color. It was all like painted color.
I saw this one, and the thing that went through my mind was, where did you find a swimsuit with fur on it? Because people just don't usually
made that.
You made it yourself. Okay, so that's the big cosplay question that comes up a lot is, you know, do you buy a costume and wear it, and is that cosplay, or do you have to be some sort of a crafter and put things together before you can say, you know, no, I'm, you know, like true Scotsman cosplay.
I say do whatever you want. I mean, it's cosplay, not coscraft. Coscraft is making your own stuff. Cosplay is playing in it, you know.
But you can make costumes.
Sure.
You've got that capability.
I've made
it's a
quite
talent.
a few costumes.
Does
Sometimes it
anybody
takes a
ever
matter
come
of
to you and
time.
say, make one for me?
I do. I have gotten that, and I don't do commissions for other people. I don't have time. I don't have the desire, and I'm not confident enough in my ability. Like I can cover up my own mess up, but I would never want to sell something that I wasn't confident in for another person, because I know where my flaws are. So I know if I need to make adjustments for my own body.
Yeah, you can make it fit you. It's harder to make it fit somebody else who's
Exactly.
not there.
Absolutely.
Completely understand that, folks. You've seen the calendar, you've seen the cards. What are we doing now? And the new thing is, I wish I had more images to show on this one because
I can pull up images.
no, you are welcome to pull up any images you want.
I can
Please
do that.
in
I
fact.
can now this is not an 18 plus show, so I'll stay in the realm of
I have this channel marked not for children. So,
yeah, but I don't know. I have some of the artwork I have is, we call it spicy and sweet instead of naughty nice. It's sweet
okay.
and spicy. So we do have some of these pieces that I can open up and show you if you want to give me the ability to share screen.
Please share the screen. You should have the ability to share the
Oh,
screen.
all right, I do. So let me go over here. All right.
So while we're waiting for this to come up, this is a comic book.
Yes, this is a comic book. And I'm going to kind of show you this way so you can see it. Okay, you got to add it to the thing. Okay, so this is our main cover. And this is our hostess right here. And then we've got, this is a horror anthology. So this girl right here, her name is Michelle. And she lives in Australia in the 1980s. And her story is kind of a murder mystery. And then this girl right here, her name is Natalia, and she is in the Colombian jungle in the 2080s. And her people go to a rave, and things go very, very badly for them. And the next girl over here, this blonde, her name is Dede, and she is a death doula in 2030. So a few years in the future. And I'm going to give you guys like an early little tidbit, but her story takes place in Colorado, in a place called Bishop's Castle. It is a real castle. It is super, super cool. And a death doula is someone that helps you cross over into the afterlife when you die.
Okay, I've heard of a doula before, but I hadn't heard the...
A doula, yeah, a doula is with you when you're giving birth and helps you to go through this process. A death doula does the same thing, but for when you're dying. And so hers is very much more of a ghost story. And then you've got Ruth over here hiding in the back. And she is a young woman in her early 20s in the early 1920s. And she's in a sanitarium.
Okay. Now,
so we've got some pieces by, that's not the wrong screen. So this is from Shikari. You can see we've got a few different variants here. So those are, this is going to be a variant for the main book. And I can show you, Michelle's got some amazing covers. So this one is super cool. Take a look at what we got going on here. Does anyone recognize this? Come on in.
I recognize her anywhere. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, oops. I meant to just make that a little bit bigger. Here we go. So yes, this is our Tarna homage.
Yes.
So
That's
that is
gorgeous.
super, super cool.
And I see that there's two versions of each one, and I understand you're clicking the ones that we can show without YouTube stopping.
So you can kind of see the other ones. This was done by Marissa Pope and I want to say CC De La Cruz. And so this is our girl, Michelle. This is our Vargas style from Alfred Trujillo.
That's a Nagel.
And then we've got this one was done by Jennifer Leonard, I want to say, but it might be Courtney. This is Courtney? Yeah, this is Courtney Rose. So, that's Michelle. And these are just some of the covers for that. Natalia, this was done by, I cannot remember his name, my apologies. But this is the hostess with Natalia in the jungle.
The hostess wears a jungle kind of costume, so that makes sense.
Yes. So this was so actually, I created this outfit for a photo shoot at the Domes, which is a place in Arizona that it was one of those places where they tried to like do some government thing and they screwed it all up and it just became like a dilapidated piece of shit. And there's these domes that are all falling apart. You have to actually sign a waiver to shoot there saying, I will not sue you when I get hurt. Notice I said when.
Yes.
I am the model for 4 of them, the hostess, and 3 of the girls, not Ruth. And I will tell you why I am not cosplaying Ruth. Ruth is a girl who has lost her legs.
Hard to pull off.
So because she is a double amputee, I didn't feel comfortable with portraying that. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not impossible with, green leg stockings and Photoshop and all
you
that.
You can do that, but it's become frowned upon. It's also unnecessary. She's constantly like, Ruth is a heartbreaking story. It really, really is. Based in a sanitarium in the early 1900s. Let me tell you, for her story, I had to do a lot of research. And a lot of people, when it comes to writing, I really try not to be sloppy. Like, I learned from that story that the lobotomy wasn't invented until the 50s.
Yes. And let's highlight this point here that you are not just the cover model for these books and characters. You wrote them. You wrote these stories. Yes. You are the writer.
Alfred Trujillo and I write these stories together. And we do write these together. I do the majority of like the real flesh work. We go through everything. He's very good at outlining, and then he'll go back to drawing, and I'll really hit the scripts. That's done by Mr. Gunn. This one I'm going to show it. It's a Jay Ferguson, and then we'll flash back out of that one. But Jay Ferguson is fantastic, so I couldn't not show you that one. Dede is next. We've got some. There we go. This is Freitas. And this castle, it does look like that. It is a really cool freaking castle. If you get a chance, look up Bishop's Castle. So there's another one. Alfred drew this one where she's being carried away. Got another one where she's got the ghost in the mirror.
Beautiful Gothic pose there.
And then this is a CB Zane. And we have the spicy suite of that one as well with the hostess and Dede. And then I've got Ruth. This one's from Alfred Trujillo. This is our fun house. And this is the one I wanted. Like, I was like, come on, this is what I want portrayed in that. So now there's a bear involved.
That should appeal to all the Five Nights at Freddy's fans.
Right? Oops. Sorry, wrong one.
That's okay.
This was damn it, I cannot remember his name. Trevor Grace, and Alfred did the colors on that, and that was based on Adam Hughes' Harley. This is a homage to that. So what we did here is we put our hostess in the wheelchair. And then this is a great one that Alfred painted as well. We do have a few others. We've got one that I'm working on for this, but yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. We do it, like I said, we've got a few more, and then I do have cosplay covers that are not done yet, which will very likely have a lot of like Photoshop elements in the background and whatnot.
Now, as an anthology book, are these connected stories, or are they just frameworked around the hostess? Sort of like I loved those books that DC did in the 70s. House of Mystery, House of Secrets, Cain and Abel. There saying, here's the story. Let's go to another one. Let's go to another one. And now we're done.
So each story is its own individual story. So these characters do not cross over into each other's story.
Okay, so there's not like an underlying element that you'll see. Oh, I remember this particular thing coming from. Okay.
No, we're all over the world. Ruth's story is in upstate New York in the early 1900s, like I said, and the late 1800s. It kind of goes into both of those. Michelle is in Australia in the 1980s. We've got Colombia over there with Natalia. Like, these stories are set all over the world, all over different areas of time. But that's where we have our hostess. Our hostess is kind of like our crypt keeper.
Yes. Just better looking.
Well, you should see her with her makeup off.
Now, folks, this is the main link that's in the description below the video. So if you go there, all you can do is follow it. So become a follower, because I'm guessing you're counting followers before you launch.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. And if you want to sign up for our email list, you can message me, or you can go to my landing page, or any of my socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my landing page is there, and join my email list.
Well, that would be the thing to do. Never miss another project that Cara's putting out and her team. Quality stuff. Do you have an idea when this is going to become a campaign that people can throw money at instead of just clicks?
Yes, the 11th. We're launching on January 11th.
January 11th. So, set it on your calendar. I was going to tell my phone to remind me. I usually pick up the phone and say, "Hey Siri, remind me on January 11th to check out the Kickstarter account." But
we'll do a live show. We always do a live show. We'll sing some songs, talk about the project, show you guys some stuff, and we always have really cool stretch goal packs. Like I said, I should have brought in some of the other ones. If you look at the other campaigns, like one of the things I do have on me, just because it's here, is I did these little coasters. Aren't they cute? So if you back the calendar, you'll get, and it's neoprene, so it's not like you're going to use it once or twice and throw it out. Like a little tiny mouse pad.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, and you can,
tons of fun, cool things in the stretch goal packs.
So there's going to be singing. You do a lot of singing. You have a whole montage of music videos that people can catch on your YouTube page. Do you tour? Do you do any kind of professional stage singing?
Well, we haven't. It was COVID. I did have a few things booked, and then COVID kind of like, but we've been so busy with everything else. We do a lot online, and we'll do live shows online. And if we have the opportunity out, we will take it. But we've been just really bogged down with everything at the moment.
Yeah. Have you picked up on the convention circuit again since?
We've done a few, but some shows are weird, and some shows are like, either shutting down or they're all at the same time. It's hard to do multiple shows when they're all the same weekend. So that's kind of where we are. And I'm also being a little more particular about shows. I'm always open to being invited to a show. And I'd like to do new places. Like last year I did Minnesota. I had never done Minnesota before. New places that are fun, and I want to meet new people, and, I don't want to just go to the same circuit. I want to go to new places and see people that I haven't met yet.
Yeah, get to see more of the world and take advantage of, people knowing who you are to, become more cosmopolitan is the word, when you were.
It's Cosplaypolitan.
Cosplaypolitan. There you go. Oh, that's the title for your next photo book, with you all over the world. With different, Eiffel Tower, Tower of London.
You're giving me ideas. I like that. But there will be a sequel to Confessions of a Cosplay Diva, so there will be a next book on that as well.
Well, we're looking forward to that as well. We'd love to have you back on that. In fact, if anytime you want to come on, hit us up. Say, I'm available this night. I'll get the calendar out. I'll email whoever's there and say, sorry, you can't do it tonight. We got Cara Nicole coming on.
Yeah, 3 a.m. after a night of heavy drinking. I'm going to call you up on my rotary phone over here. Be like,
yeah, it'll work.
And yeah, we'll just be like, let's go live right now, man. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the best. And that's what we're going to do.
I'm there. I will do that. I'm all for it.
We missed you at Steel City Con. I only went to one Steel City, and I would love to go back. Just so you know, I did. I was at Steel City in August, and that was the only Steel City I did. And let me tell you, it was so hard to get there. It was going to take like 15 hours. And so it was actually better for me to go spend a day and a night in Colorado and then go. So I did that. It was like the longest, most ridiculous trip. But I wanted to meet Mickey Dolenz.
Well, you got it done. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Mike Nesmith. I was going to say you got it done in time.
I did go see him, and I did go to his concert. I did go to the Mike and Mickey's show in Phoenix when they came out here. So I did.
I noticed in your music, you are a big Monkees fan.
I'm a huge Monkees fan.
So yeah, that's another Pleasant Valley Sunday, one of my favorites.
So we actually did a cover of Different Drum that Mike Nesmith wrote, and Linda Ronstadt sang it. So we did a cover of that upon his passing. And Alfred already started the guitars. It was something he wanted to do since the concert anyway. And so we did kind of push that for for unfortunately his passing. But we also did a cover of Secret Heart, which was a cover that the Monkees did. But it was originally done by a band called Tight Fit, and they were a European band. So yeah, I'm a big Monkees fan.
I've left Herwenberg's comment up here because in addition to writing, singing, cosplaying, and business, running businesses, stand-up comedy. So
yeah, I do a little bit of that.
It
was sit-down comedy, but I had to get a drink, and I just kept talking.
Oh, well, there you go. And that's how you become a stand-up comic. You just start like that. Because when I think when I first met you, it was through a couple of stand-up comics, Todd Livingston and Nick Kapitsanakis. You had done the cosplay cover for starring Sonia Devereaux.
I did.
So Violet Vixen, that particular cover. So it's amazing how we just make these network connections. And now I'm talking to all these cool people. And I love having you on the show because you're a real person. I've talked with other cosplayers before, and they're like, when you talk to them, they're cosplay person. They're not, their real selves. And you become more of an approachable, real, realized, humanized person on a cosplay stream like this. So thank you for coming on. Like I said, we'd love to have you back. Folks in the chat, hit the link for Unstable Frequencies. Get on that list so that you'll know when it comes out. And thank you for being in the chat. We appreciate you. We don't have a show if you're not here. And as always,